Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to review something that I honestly wasn't sure that I would ever end up getting, but I actually just recently pulled the trigger on one, and it's something I promoted a while back on the channel, and that is the Damtoys Dinosaur busts. Now these are just basically busts of different dinosaurs that a company called Damtoys was starting to make, and they basically took over for Sideshow, where the Dinosauria Sideshow line left off. Damtoys kind of picked it up, and they are now making these dinosaur figures to put on the Sideshow website. They also sell them on a few other websites, but it pretty much seems to me that they've taken over the Dinosauria Sideshow line, and it is now the Damtoys line. So I recently saw that the Tyrannosaurus Rex bust was in stock on Sideshow's website, so I took a chance and ordered one. And as you can see, this is the front of the box. It says it is the Collectible Museum Series, Tyrannosaurus Rex Paleontology World. There are actually two different versions of this bust. And if we turn the box, we can take a look at the first version right here. This is the brown version. There are two different, as I said, there's a brown and a green. This is not the version I got, although the brown one looked pretty good. I got the version that is displayed here on the other side of the box, and that is the green version. And it was honestly, basically, it came down to, I saw a few videos and pictures of the finalized product, and I thought the overall finalized product of the green Rex looked better than the brown Rex. So I went with the green Rex, and the box itself here is actually really quite nice also. And then on the back, you can see you've got an image of both the green and brown versions. The brown Rex originally I thought looked much better than the green one when it came to the prototype, but the finalized product, I think the green Rex ended up looking better than the brown one. So here's a little information down here on the bottom of the box, basically telling you all about the sculptor and everything like that. But without further ado, let's break this Rex bust out of the box. So here is the green Rex bust, and like I said, I think this one turned out a lot better than the final version of the brown Rex. I don't unfortunately have the brown Rex here to show you guys, but this green Rex is just absolutely beautiful in my opinion. I think the color and the paint that they've applied is really nice, and overall it actually kind of makes me feel like it's a little better than what we were getting from Sideshow when they were making the Dinosauria Sideshow pieces. You can see that it is really nicely painted. It's got a very cool base here. The underside is basically a Triceratops skull and all that fun stuff. It gives it a very cool look and everything. But let's get a closer look at the actual Rex here and everything, and we'll be able to tell just how nice the sculpt and all that is. Now, if we actually start taking a look here at the snout area, you can see that the scales and everything are really nicely sculpted. I think they look beautiful, and the paint applied is all very natural looking. I think they've done an absolutely fantastic job as far as the application of the paint goes. They do have like a lighter coloration here of a lighter green on the snout, and I think that looks pretty good as well. The only thing I could say maybe here in the snout area that might have helped to make it look a little better would be maybe some dark coloration inside the nostrils, just to really darken that up, because if you look in the nostrils, it just kind of looks like it's the same green that you see out here. So maybe some darker paint inside the nostrils just to give it a darker appearance, in my opinion, might help it a little bit, but that may not be the sentiment of everybody. That may be just what I think. The teeth themselves look fantastic and is one of my favorite parts of the figure. I really think that the teeth actually have a very nice smooth feel to them, and they have a nice gloss over them, a very genuine wet look to it. And you can see that they are basically a white, and I think the white is actually an absolutely perfect white. Exactly what you would see. They kind of look pretty much exactly like what my dog's teeth look like when it comes to that perfect white coloration. But then the closer you get to the jaw, it kind of has like that brownish look here to the teeth. Closer to the jawline, that not so perfectly brushed type of a look. And I think it honestly looks really nice the way they've done that on this. I think overall the teeth just glisten and shine beautifully and very realistically, and I think that the mouth area in general is probably my favorite part of this figure. You can see the tongue inside there. It's a little hard to get into just simply because it is not, the mouth itself isn't open too wide, but You can see it's a nice pinkish coloration. It does appear to have a very beautiful skin texture to it, to the actual tongue, and it's also got a very nice gloss. Like I said, it's kind of hard to really get in there and see it, but it does look really, really nice. Even the bottom of the inside of the mouth all has that very nice genuine wet look, making it look very realistic and very alive. So the overall realism factor of this dinosaur bust is pretty much off the charts. It's really beautifully done. If we look at the top, you can see that the overall figure does have kind of a glossy shine to it, but I think it looks pretty good still regardless, and really helps the figure itself to stand out. The paint applied to the sculpt and everything up here on the top of the head looks really nice, and you can see that there is just a ton of sculpt and beautiful detail that has gone into the top of the head of this dinosaur. It really looks nice, and I love that it's a darker coloration. They basically added like a dark wash kind of, and then on top of that, it seems as though they've dry brushed like a lighter, very like light lime green over top of everything, and it really makes the detail and everything pop and jump out at you, especially back here on the back part of the head. I love the way they've done this. It runs down the spine of the Rex. I think that that really looks beautiful. Absolutely fantastic the way they've done that. Really helps to make all that detail just jump out at you and pop so much more. Then if we take a look here at the lower jaw, again the scales are sculpted out really nicely everywhere, and then it's got kind of a light wash here in the front that just kind of makes some of the detail in the front part of the lower jaw pop out at you a little bit more than it would without that. And there are some greens here added throughout the lower jaw, some darker greens and some lighter greens, so the overall coloration as far as skin tone goes is also really nicely done. They've done a great job making it look very realistic. I do like the sculpt here as we run down the side of the neck. It's very beautifully sculpted with the way the wrinkles and everything looks here on the side of the neck. It looks exactly as I would expect it to look, considering the Rex kind of turning his head to the right. I think they've done a really beautiful job there. And the way they've done the light green wash with like a dry brushing over it, again, really helps all that detail to pop out at you and just look so nice and so realistic. Really nicely done for Damtoys, and considering this is actually, I believe, their first dinosaur figure. They did make a Smilodon figure, well, statue I should say, right before this Rex, but this was the first dinosaur, so I really think that they've done a killer job on this overall. One thing that I do say is a downside, and I'm sure you probably have noticed it by now, is right here on the skin flap of the inside of the mouth. I don't know why, but for some reason they put that green over it as opposed to that pinkish coloration. I think they could have just kept that pink and it would have looked a lot nicer. I believe on the brown one it actually doesn't have the brown over the skin flap here. It's actually all pink. So that one in that mouth area probably looks a little better overall than the mouth area of this one, but I think the overall paint job of the dinosaur looks better on this one than the brown one, so it's kind of hit or miss as far as that goes. I also think that maybe right here where the skin flap connects to the top of the mouth, you can see it's kind of disconnected there, so maybe if they connected that a little better in future releases, that might help to also make this figure look a little bit better. It's just something that Damtoys can work on for the future to help the overall quality of their figures. If we look at the underside of the neck, it's a little hard to get to it, but you can see some very nice skin wrinkling here in the throat area, and again, it's really beautifully painted. Comes down to some very nice large chest muscles in the front that also look very good. I think that the paint applied here also looks very realistic. It appears to have a nice wash of like a light brown, and then it kind of changes and transitions to a lighter green here. Really makes me wish I could see a full body version of this dinosaur. I think it would have looked very cool to have that, but I'm content with this really beautiful looking bust. You can see the Rex hands are also very nicely sculpted, and the nails are like a brown but have a nice gloss on them. They also look very real, very genuine. It kind of appears as though they literally just took a T-Rex and cut off his head, pretty much, shrunk him down to size, and put him on a bust for me right here. Again, the paint on this side also looks really, really good, and the eyes themselves are fantastic. If you look at the eye, it's kind of got like a yellowish rim, and then it kind of transitions to like a white sort of in the center, and then a black pupil, and it has a beautiful gloss over it, really making the eye look real and very genuine. I think the eyes of these figures are pretty much next level, and in general the eyes themselves are way better than the eyes that we got on any of the Dinosauria Sideshow figures, so that is a huge plus. Because honestly, I feel like the eyes can make or break a figure sometimes, and they totally make this figure because the eyes just look super real. The coloration around the eye here is a darker green, but again, you can pick up on some hints of like a brown wash here, and maybe like a lime green wash here, and it's all just been mixed together in a very realistic fashion, giving it a very real look as far as skin tone, again, and different variations of the color in the dinosaur's head. Once again, there's that beautiful dry brushing that they've done here a little bit just to bring out that detail. The lower jaw also looks very good on this side. And looking at this side of the neck, you can see that the wrinkles are here, and they're definitely visible, but not quite like they were on the other side, because now the Rex has his head turned away from this side, pulling the skin a little bit, and that's very nice attention to detail as far as the sculpting goes of this figure on the part of Damtoys. And again, you can get a good idea here of the dry brushing and the upper part of the neck and the head. Beautiful detail and sculpt that has gone into this area. Also looks really nice, and you can also pick up again on that fantastic paint job as far as the many different variations of greens and kind of browns actually that are included to give this a very realistic look. I think overall it looks awesome. And then if we come down here onto the base, you can see I did mention that there is a Triceratops skull, and the Triceratops skull itself looks very good also. It's got a nice wash that's been put over it, kind of giving it a very weathered look. And one thing that's also really cool about this is it does have a broken horn over here on the side to just add that little bit of extra realism. And even right here, you can actually pick up on like a little hint of yellow, just giving the skull itself some variation of color, which is also a very cool, realistic addition to this set. And then on the back, you can see that the rear of the Rex is actually covered in vegetation, and it's really beautifully sculpted and beautifully painted. It looks fantastic. Many different variations of greens and stuff inside the actual vegetation, and then you come down and there's all sorts of other vegetation and rocks, and there's even some mushrooms kind of hanging off the side here, right in this general area of the log that's, well, I guess it's more like a tree stump kind of sticking out here. And I love that all the different vegetation has many different colors as far as the greens, many different variations of green. You can also see that all the stones and everything on the bottom, all the different rocks and everything look very real, all painted pretty much to perfection as far as I would say. There's even some yellows here on the front as far as other sort of vegetation, and the overall underside of this Rex bust looks fantastic. If you look at the underside, it is basically just a soft kind of material, and it does sit really nicely in place wherever you put it. It doesn't move, but this isn't actually the entire thing. This is just the bust itself. It actually comes with a stand, which this is the stand, and the stand looks beautiful. It really does. And then you've got a nice image here of the Rex right there, its skeleton anyway, and it says Tyrannosaurus Rex Paleontology World Collectible Bust Series. There's nothing else on it other than this beautiful finish that they've done. But then if you look on the underside, you can see again telling you that it is Damtoys and all of that fun stuff. It's also got those little rubber circles there to help keep it in place. And then when you actually put the Rex on the base, you can see it looks super cool with the complete finalized look of it. I think it's absolutely beautiful the way they've done this, and such a very cool presentation to this dinosaur bust. And a great way to start off their paleontology series as far as these dinosaur busts go. As far as a size goes, if we go from the ground while the Rex is on top of its base, you are looking at about about 15.5 inches, or about 40 centimeters. So that's very tall. But if we take the Rex off the base and basically just measure the Rex itself from the ground up to the head, you're looking at about 9.5 inches, or about 24 centimeters for a height. There's not really much going on as far as a width or anything, because the Rex is honestly it's just a head, so we don't have too much going on as far as the width goes, but it is a very, very nice size. For the price, it's actually a pretty crazy large figure. For a size comparison, there is our buddy the Papo Rex, and you can now tell just how large this Tyrannosaurus Rex bust is. It is huge compared to the Papo Rex, and like I said, very impressive in size. And you can see, looking at the two up close, that the detail is just insanely nicely done on the Rex bust, even compared to a Papo figure, which is really highly detailed in itself. But these Damtoys busts are like next level as far as sculpt and everything goes, so that should right there give you a pretty good idea of the size of the Rex. Another thing about this bust is it's actually really heavy, so that's also a plus to help make it nice and stable when you do display it, because it doesn't actually connect to the base, it just sits on it. But because it is so heavy, I really doubt that it would go anywhere as far as it falling over or anything. It should stay perfectly in place. So this is my very first Damtoys bust, and I am beyond impressed with it. I think that the overall appearance of this looks fantastic. I love the base that they've included. I think that gives it such a more museum-like appearance to it, and a much higher quality appearance to it, rather than it just being the Rex sitting on the ground the way it is currently. The paint applied is beautiful. It doesn't quite match up to what you saw in the promotional images, that's for sure, but honestly the final product of the Rex is definitely really, really nicely done, and I have zero complaints at all, except for that one little area of the corner of the mouth. I think they could have done a better job as far as the paint application there, but as far as the dinosaur itself and all the skin coloration and everything goes, I think it looks fantastic, and they have done just an absolutely beautiful job painting this dinosaur and giving it a very realistic and lifelike look to it. The overall sculpting is insanely nice as well. Again, all sorts of attention to detail has been definitely paid attention to when they went into sculpting this figure, and they've done a great job overall on all the minute little details you would expect to see on something like this, including the base with all that incredible vegetation and the rock formations and everything, to the point of including little mushrooms and everything on the sides of the rocks and tree stumps is just absolutely awesome. I love that they've gone the extra mile as far as that goes. Then including a Triceratops skull is just super cool. Again, showing you that this Rex is the king of the dinosaurs. And going back to the paint application, like I said, on the teeth is just incredible. The inside of the mouth, it all honestly looks very real and very lifelike. It's the most realistic looking mouth that I've seen on a dinosaur figure next to Rebor, and I'm not sure who I would honestly pick when it comes to realism between this and a Rebor figure, because they are honestly so close as far as realism goes when it comes to the mouth area of their figures. One thing again that I said is awesome about this figure is the eyes. The eyes look great. They really, really look very real, and they've been painted with such beauty and perfection that it honestly makes it look like it is a dinosaur just staring back at me when I look into the eyes of this figure, which is again something that is just absolutely awesome when it comes to this Damtoys bust. As I said, there are two different versions. Both, I believe, are still available on Sideshow, and actually, I believe, on BigBadToyStore.com's website. But I do believe these are limited. There's no actual limited edition number, but when I spoke to Damtoys, they pretty much said that they only make a certain amount, and then they just stop making them, and you can no longer buy them, so they will sell out eventually. So that means if you are interested, you should definitely get on buying it as soon as possible, so that you don't miss out on one of these incredible Damtoys Tyrannosaurus Rex busts. They have numerous other busts in the works currently, and a few others actually released already, one of which I do have and will be reviewing here on the channel as well very, very soon, and I am just as excited about that one, if not more, than I was for this one. But if you do want to buy this or the Brown Rex, I will link you to both of those in the description, so check the description, buy yourself an incredible Tyrannosaurus Rex bust, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.